they thought
Today I had
they would have a
somewhat
much,
of a slight encounter with
much easier
the
time
police. Not me
getting rid of
personally,
you.
but they had pulled somebody over
And
kind of
now
in front of my house, but not
they're
in front of my
having
house.
to contend
And when I pulled up to
with a
park,
heavier conscience.
and I noticed my wife was on the front porch,
They're getting nervous.
and they was kind of looking at her a
And
little
they're
bit.
having to
And somebody said, well, what's she out
realize
there for? I said, she's an observer,
that you're just getting started.
because they had pulled over one of
That
my neighbors,
everything they have done has
and they
only
was
emboldened
proceeding to
you.
search his vehicle. And so as I got out, I just simply said, well, I see the slave catchers are at it again,
See,
right?
you
So
knew
they
the
promptly
nature of the game.
stopped searching his car. Now, these was 2 black officers, by the way. They promptly
You knew it
stopped
from the
searching his
purity of your
car and
heart,
let him go.
is what Spirit's showing me. And
Made a U-turn because I
they
was out doing a
revealed
little work on my
the
mother-in-law's
script they
car
were
at the time.
following and the nature of
They
the
made a
game they were
U-turn
playing. And that
and
was
pulled up to me and
when all the betrayal
said, asked me how was I doing and whatnot. You know, the bull that they give you before they start.
What they intended.
With their little con
parts
job or
they
whatever
played
you
in
want
your
to call
life, no
it.
matter
Said,
what
well,
was in their heart, the divine
you know how
has
many
used
black
it
people
for your
was
elevation,
killed
for
by
your
other
drawing
black
and calling
people
out your
in this
protection,
city
your
this year?
awakening,
I said,
and now for
look,
your elevation.
black people
Spirit.
kill black people at the same
They really
rate
white
white people
that
kill
they could rewrite
white
history
people. Approximately the same rate.
without you in
You
it.
know, that's just
And you are it.
statistically
You are it.
the truth.
Spirit.
Okay. Now, but he was pissed off that I
What
called him a
God
slave
sets in
catcher,
motion,
right? And I meant that not just because that the police
No man can
derived
change.
from slave catchers. We all know that. But because, number one, these was 2 black men, 2 black police officers, which I'm going to take the liberty right now to call them Sambo and Quimbo, because those were the 2 guys that beat Uncle Tom to death, right? But my point was this here, not because they slave catchers, but see, when you pull over, this to all you young black police officers, let me explain. When you pull over somebody in your neighborhood, another black man, and you give him all these damn tickets, he already poor property already. That's why y'all policing his neighborhood so much. So when you pull over and you give him $400-500 worth of ticket, that's his whole paycheck. You done probably caused him to be homeless now. You done towed his car or whatever you done thinking, oh, well, you doing something. You working for the corporation. You are oppressing your own people for the corporation, because when you write out those $400, $500, $600, $700, $800,000 tickets, that does not go back to our community. That goes to the corporation. That goes to the city municipal fund, which they use to give big corporation tax breaks and stuff like that. That does not go to us. So when I say slave catcher, I mean that you are penalizing your own people in their neighborhood or your neighborhood, if you happen to live in that neighborhood that you are policing, right? And you are turning them into slaves, because when they can't pay them fines, they're getting arrested. They're going to prison, and they're slaving for 15, 20 cents an hour. That's why you a slave catcher. Because when you find these guys and they haven't committed no crime at all, and you punish them because something is wrong with their vehicle or something like that, this is not a criminal offense. It's a civil offense, more than likely. And then they can't pay it, and that turns into a criminal offense, and they end up in a prison cell and end up on some farm, some two, 3 states away, picking vegetables for 15 cents an hour. No, you're a slave catcher. Understand that. You are creating slaves when you harass people in your own neighborhood, when you pull them over for a broken tail light, and then you search their car for an hour to try to find a reason to arrest them and imprison them. You are perpetuating slavery on your own people. Don't get it twisted. Now, I've always believed that police was an admirable position, was an admirable job to have. But now that I'm in my older age, I see a little more clearly now. They're not protecting and serving us. They're brutalizing and killing us and putting us into financial disarray by, forcing all these fines on us, making us pay half our income in tickets and bullshit and fines. I remember one time I got a ticket for $500 because the officer walked up to me. I had done something wrong. I had made a U-turn, an improper U-turn. I could take that ticket. He walked up to me, asked me for driver's license insurance. I gave it to him. And as he turned to walk away, I said, oh, wait a minute. I have a CPL. And he said, oh, you're supposed to say that first. And gave me a $500 ticket that I had to pay. I had to pay that ticket. I said, I couldn't say it first because you told me to shut up. You said, don't say nothing. You know what you did. I said, I know what I did. I did something wrong. Okay, I'll take the ticket. But I have a CPL. I need you to know that. He hadn't walked away from the car yet. And he still gave me the ticket. So that's what I mean by slave catcher. Because if I couldn't pay that ticket, then I would have had to be, they would have imprisoned me and made me do some kind of community service, clean the freeway, or do some kind of labor for pennies on the dollar, for slave wages. So that's what I mean when I say slave catcher, because you are a slave catcher. The people that you catch and punish end up, a lot of them, in a prison slave system to where they working for slave wages. And you guys know this. And if you don't know, now you know.